Welcome to episode 5 of April Anger. Our first match is going to be Captain Falcon against Sheik. Sheik being new to the April Anger scene. Well, this is technically still March Malcontent because it's in the month of March, comes before the main tournament in April. Falcon hitting Sheik with a raw knee. And a pretty decent combo. Sheik's going to have a hard time keeping up, especially because Sheik as a character usually has a hard time killing. There are ways to kill with Sheik, but they're usually more intense setups. It actually means that Sheik is very hard to play as a casual player because most people don't know all of Sheik's kill confirms. Another raw knee. Sheik's able to make it back, if barely. Tries to go for something there, unable to land the combo. The low angle of Captain Falcon's down tilt is very precarious for most characters, especially if he hits you with it at the ledge. Sheik going very low to make it back. Possibly unnecessarily low. I can't get too mad for being overly cautious. But with the Amiibo, you never know, you know? Sheik barely missing the back air there. If you look closely, you could actually see the spark that indicates that two hitboxes did not intersect enough to count as a hit, but almost intersected enough. It's kind of a fun little detail they added. I think they added it back in Smash Bros. Brawl. Getting Captain Falcon with the recovery hitbox, parrying the Raptor boost. Gets killed for it, though. She goes for the grenade, but Captain Falcon just goes above it. Sheik does actually have some pretty good offstage pressuring abilities, but it's all about how you use them. And being a highly technical character, which normally the Amiibo are great at piloting. I believe since Sheik needs to know very much how the character works and what kind of combos work instead of very difficult inputs, this is how the Amiibo is at a disadvantage. Sheik making it back, unable to punish Captain Falcon for his hubris. Ledge Trumps does not get to capitalize on the invincibility though. If your character is fast enough, you can often run off the stage and hit them with a back air. There are other things you can do, but usually you just don't have enough time. In Smash 4, ledge trumping someone into back air was super consistent and people would use it a lot. That down tilt's gonna get cheap. But in Ultimate, first of all, whenever you get ledge trumped, you can actually influence your direction. And additionally, if you input any get up option, then you don't get ledge trumped, you merely get up off of the ledge. And just with Ultimate being faster, you normally have less time to get to the ledge to try to trump someone. I do like the balancing of it all. It just does mean that that one's particular facet is less common. Sheik with a great tech on the wall to hit Captain Falcon with an up air. Sheik still needs to figure out how to kill though. Got Captain Falcon off stage. She at least punished him for his high recovery. Blocking a raw knee and landing a smash attack, but from the other side of the stage, it's not going to kill. Up air near the top will finally get Sheik, well, her first kill. Fantastic combo from Sheik right there. It only gets a solid 28%, which actually does bring up the auto heal factor of the Amiibo. It's mainly to counter humans, and since all of the Amiibo in the tournament have the same spirit setup, it's fair. I guess it does technically make the matches go longer, since it just lowers the percentage everyone's at. But one of the quirks of that is that if you ever have a long combo, you and your opponent are both going to be healing during it. So it's beneficial for you to heal, but if your combos are excessively long, then your opponent just gets more health back for getting strung along through the long combo. It's especially devastating for human opponents who have a hard time getting through the Amiibo's defense. But for a character like Sheik, who has a hard time killing and has, you know, average damage if you know what you're doing, it does mean that any damage that you lose to the auto heal is damage you have to keep making back to try to get yourself to figure out how to kill. That being said, the second stock has definitely been a lot better. Well, the second stock of Captain Falcon has been a lot better for Sheik than the first stock, racking up 140%, still at about 20. Gets a spike, but Sheik was at a low enough percent to not die. Doesn't go for a second forward, up air though. Possibly could have killed Captain Falcon. One of the, well, honestly, best kill options for Sheik is if you up smash someone who's on a platform, you hit them with a sweet spot, which kills them faster. And this stage has platforms, which does mean, oh, never mind, that'll work too. Drag down up air to forward smash. Was not expecting to see that. Now Captain Falcon has to make up a lot of ground, and I say that as he gets put into the Sheik blender of getting kicked in the face repeatedly. Forward air beat out the Raptor boost there. A little surprising if you ask me, especially because the Raptor boost has armor and such a large detection hitbox. Just goes to show you, I was a little pessimistic of Sheik in the early match. Oh, almost just died there. But Sheik's really pulled it back. Stuff like this is why people think that the Amiibo can adapt. They don't in the way that people would think. It's not that the Amiibo is learning the matchup any better. If there is any adaptation, it would be in how the CPU behaves. Oh, that barely kills Sheik out the top right corner. That means Captain Falcon is going to be making it into the tournament. Next up, Wii Fit Trainer against Min Min, one of our oldest against one of our newest. Looks like we're going to be on Dreamland. The song playing is World to Win, which is actually a song that I didn't realize was in the song pool. Kind of glad that they included it. It's from Kirby Triple Deluxe. Good song. But for some reason it doesn't come out nearly as much as Crowned. Maybe that's because of my particular music settings. I'll have to check on that, I guess. Inman's off stage, able to recover with her lengthy noodle arms. Normally that would be an insult, but in this case it's actually accurate. Min Min being a character who excels at a distance, more so than the proclaimed distance demon Byleth, just due to the sheer length of the noodle arms. However, the Amiibo particularly enjoys using some of Min Min's more up-close attacks. It's definitely an interesting play style, and one that I'd actually recommend to beginner to intermediate players just to get them acquainted with how camping characters work. For example, Min Min or other long-range characters like the Belmonts or Young Link or Samus. If you only spam projectiles, you'll find yourself quickly overwhelmed when people finally do approach. So from a normal player's perspective, you can improve more if you include the other attacks so that you know how to use them when the time comes. And then it makes your spamming all that more effective, because when the opponent finally gets in, it's not as much of a clear victory as they would hope it would be. Min Min dodging the sun salutation. Not like an air dodge, just using normal movement to not get hit by it. Putting Min Min right back off stage, but Wii Fit Trainer doesn't go for the edge guard. Her neutral air could probably mess up Min Min. Okay, so when you're edgeguarding a character with a tether, usually the general trick is you want to put your character between their character and the ledge. First kill goes to Wii Fit Trainer, by the way. Because their character has to grab the ledge with their recovery. And if you're close enough to the ledge, they can never hit you with their recovery move because it prioritizes the ledge. Which makes sense, you should be prioritizing not dying over trying to kill someone. Even if it's to the chagrin of certain players of characters with tethers in high-stakes scenarios. So you position your character between the opponent and the ledge, and if you have a long-lasting hitbox of any sort, you just sort of throw it out, and it prevents the player with the tether from quickly snapping to the ledge. It does depend, on each specific tether, how they work and what dimensions they have. That's something I can't just explain to you. You kind of just have to play the game to learn what the best ones for that is. But a lot of characters getting hit out of their recovery at the ledge does not give them much to get back to the ledge. And since a tether doesn't elevate your character, or at least if you do it right, they will only elevate at most half of the way to the ledge before your lengthy hitbox connects with them. They can only use their tether again, and since it doesn't grant elevation, they're just worse off than before. Anyways, that's a quick tutorial about how to try to edgeguard tether characters. Another thing you can do is if the opponent tries to keep hanging without retracting to the ledge, then you just hit them for it. Min Min gets a grab off that's going to enable her arm into the dragon arm. Yeah, it's a little hard to see with this coloration because it's pink, like her outfit. The dragon arm is just a more powerful version of the arm. The laser gets stronger. I don't think hitting them with the arm does more damage, but just the benefits of the laser alone. Wii Fit Trainer turns the tables on Min Min off stage. It is something I've noticed that a lot of beginning players don't think about as much. I've gotten weird compliments like, oh, you were able to turn it around off stage against him. When all I did was I just hit him away while I was trying to recover. A lot of characters do have hitboxes they can use to cover their recovery. Probably the most obvious is whenever you see a villager try to return to the stage, they usually shoot their slingshot. It just makes it easier to grab the ledge if the opponent's been hit in the face. This doesn't work for all characters, especially because a lot of characters have very laggy... Sorry, not a lot of characters, but there are a lot of characters who have a laggy aerial of some sort. Most surprisingly is actually Inkling. All of the aerials are safe on shield, but they're so laggy when used in the air. Min Min now has a lot of ground to make up against Wii Fit Trainer. Makes up some of it, goes off stage for something. Min Min doesn't have a spike. Her down air is one of those that sends you downwards. It's mostly only useful for landing. It also means you don't have a spike, which isn't necessary for a character to have. You don't need to have a spike. It's just always nice to have one, because sometimes you can just kill people. See right there, Min Min was hit by Wii Fit Trainer, but was able to hit Wii Fit Trainer first, reversing the situation from what it had previously been. In terms of, who was at a disadvantage. Lengthy grab from Min Min. She has the Megawatt arm equipped right now, which does mean she has a good kill option on Wii Fit Trainer. Wii Fit Trainer is out of deep breathing. I don't think Wii Fit Trainer has used deep breathing this fight. It's actually one of Wii Fit Trainer's, best moves, because it makes everything else better. Min Min can barely make that back. Trying to go off stage, Wii Fit Trainer just goes up high. Wii Fit Trainer is a character who does very well off stage. A whole bunch of different stalling options. Going for an edge guard. Does manage to hit Min. Wii Fit Trainer kept her jump through all of that. Gets hit by the Megawatt, but not a smash attack, so that's not going to be fatal. Wii Fit Trainer stands there and takes it. Gets backflip kicked to the shins. Well, until the last 2 seconds there, that was a pretty fair match, I'd say. Let's head into our next match, Mii Gunner against Link. Behold the majesty of the character creator. You can make some pretty cursed Miis, as it turns out. I don't remember this Mii being bald. I think that's a side effect of equipping the Majora's Mask. I could check on that later, but I really don't care to. I'm fine as it is. Now, Mii Gunner is a character who, in the competitive Amiibo scene, excels through use of extensive camping. Yeah, as you probably just saw, this Amiibo doesn't tend to do that too much. Main component of that is that most people probably wouldn't want to watch a Camp Fest every single match. Also, I didn't take the extensive time to specifically train the Amiibo to try to camp. Especially when you get to the later parts of the training, when the Amiibo gets all of its AI capabilities and you've given it spirits, it usually has a really good, well, game plan, I guess. All of its attacks just hit more, so it kind of just ends up wrecking you continuously. Link with a taunt there? Unless I'm mistaking it for the bomb pulling animation. Something to note if Link needs to get retrained this year. So the postseason content is all of the worst Amiibo going up against each other, and the 4 worst Amiibo get retrained. Basically, they just receive additional training until they can seem to compete with some of the other Amiibo. It's a little hard to mediate just because the Amiibo's performance is highly dependent on a whole bunch of factors, and one of them is even how well the programming team programmed the Amiibo AI. It shouldn't be as much of a surprise that they just got better with time, making AI for all these characters, and I assume that the Amiibo AI is somehow derived from the CPU AI. That just, after doing it more and more often, they just naturally got better, more bold, stuff like that. Good pressure from Link there, hitting Mii Gunner with the Nair, but also dropping the bomb and setting it up for later. Now it's kind of a stage hazard. Not quite able to get Mii Gunner with it. Would have made his recovery a lot easier, if he had landed that. Goes for a lengthy charge on that forward smash, though. Enough that I'd say it's actually excessive. Mii Gunner hasn't used too many special moves. The most important being the up B. It gives the most recovery, which the AI normally has a better time with. Being able to recover more, especially because they usually don't use it as much as a kill option. Gets a good back air read off a Link. Honestly, it's really good for Mii Gunner because it gets rid of some of the danger of Link being a character who can hit hard, being at high rage, can kind of cheese out a quick kill every now and then, just because of the bonus that rage provides. For those who don't know, rage basically means that when you're at a high percent, you actually take a little bit extra knockback and you deal a little bit extra knockback. Well, I can only theorize as to why it's in the game, but one thing I can say it definitely does is it makes matches between casual players less prolonged, specifically at the end of matches, because when 2 players are at high percents, a lot more things will start to kill. Just helps the speed of the game, and it's definitely something that I think is a good addition to the game, even if it needed to be balanced a little bit from Smash 4. Mii Gunner keeps trying to land with these up airs while Link's below them. It's not really a good strategy, I'd say, but... Dodging the arrow, well, the first one. Dancing with death, rolling through that smash attack. Link doesn't go for follow-up. Mii Gunner's doing a really good job of just not dying, which I suppose is something we should all strive towards. Back air's not going to kill from across the stage. Up smash on Link is not going to kill. The up smash detonated the bomb, securing Mii Gunner's fate, bouncing off the roof into the abyss. What an ending. Richter against Luigi. Let's go. Oh wait, let's go. Yeah, I should have said it the first time. Alright, looks like we're on Woohoo Island. I'm pretty sure this stage rule set has stage hazards disabled, so we shouldn't be flying to the different areas of the Woohoo Island. It is a little sad because the stage does have so much, well, diversity in it. Some pretty unique platform layouts. Only being in the flight section is just more consistent, I suppose. Although the shape of this stage... Okay, first of all, what the heck, Richter? The shape of this stage is disadvantageous towards Richter. Not that the Amiibo do it that much, however, Holy Water ledge trapping is... edge guarding. No, ledge trapping. Holy Water edge trapping is one of the Malcontent's strongest strategies. They're just very, very good at ledge trapping. But with a stage that tilts upwards like this, you really can't. I suppose you could try to jump to throw the Holy Water into the right place. That would, first of all, delay your ledge trapping, well, potential projectile spam. You can usually, as long as you don't use the same projectile twice in a row, you can throw out the boomerang or axes and the Holy Water just on a cycle. Richter, what are you doing? If you miss one of those, you die again. That being said, since the ledge is higher than the stage, it does mean that if you hang on the ledge too long, it's really easy to get whipped. The Richter-Luigi matchup is actually normally in Richter's favor, Luigi being a character who has one of the most punishing grabs in the game due to Luigi's just immense combo ability, and also his throws do kill. But the length of Richter's whip just makes it really hard for Luigi to try to go for grabs. Luigi air dodging through the ledge, able to make it back, barely. Good job, Luigi. Well, I don't know how much you can really influence that interaction. It's not like there's an obscure recovery tech that gives you an extra inch. Ducking under the whip of the Belmont. It is one of the disadvantages of characters with long ranged attacks, is that on any stage with a slope, it's really hard to attack up or down the slope. Usually your attack only goes over the length of the slope. Meanwhile, if you have a move that slides you against the floor, it'll naturally slide you up or down the slope. Richter made it completely through that Luigi Cyclone. A little surprising, he must have just matched up the invincibility frames perfectly. Luigi with the ledge trump, not able to capitalize off of it. Sadly, I did not teach Luigi to down taunt at the ledge, it's normally something you'll see humans go for because it's so punishing. Really, Richter? But if you teach Luigi to down taunt a whole bunch, he just taunts in all of the wrong circumstances. So I would say that Luigi didn't win there, but Richter definitely lost. That brings us to Toon Link against Yoshi. With a fitting music choice on Final Destination, should be a little bit more towards Toon Link's advantage just because of his projectiles. Without platforms, you can't retreat to them to avoid the projectiles, and Yoshi being a character who's so good in the air, but on Final Destination, normally the players are most often on the ground. That being said, Yoshi's doing really well. Really well. In an impressive 33-second kill, only taking 30% in the process. Thankfully, that's not a statistic that's tracked anywhere, because it would, of course, only benefit the rushdown characters. Everyone else would get penalized in that department. Also, there's no way I'm keeping track of the statistics on this. The editing process already takes long enough as is. If I had to record every blow dealt and things like that, it would just take... It would never get released. Honestly, in some past years, sometimes, things have gotten delayed near the end of the season, things like that. Well, we'd still be on, honestly, maybe last year. Okay, Toon Link is taunting a lot. That is not something I like to see. Did Yoshi lose his jump? What? 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 Alright, well this just got really interesting because Yoshi was mollywogging Toon Link for most of this match, but then he accidentally died himself, so... Good pressure on Toon Link, but Toon Link just decided to not interact that day and didn't do a get-up option. Therefore, Yoshi couldn't really do anything to him. Yoshi using his jump's super armor, well, okay, like heavy armor, to get through the bomb there. Yoshi's double jump does have a lot of armor. It's actually really important because it's Yoshi's only way of recovering. They did change it ever since Brawl so that Yoshi's up B does give him a little bit of height. It's actually... It gives you even more height if you do it out of a jump now. Meaning his jump is even more important because it leads to so much of his recovery. So that's why it's armored, so that he doesn't get ridiculously gimped. Interesting trade there. Yoshi getting up through the bomb. The smoke of Toon Link's bombs does linger longer than most other explosions. It does mean you can try to conceal yourself in it. Yoshi lands with the down B. Link lands with the down air, sensing a trend of moves that send you down. Yoshi air dodges right into that bomb, though. That's gonna kill Yoshi off the top. Quite the roller coaster. Ganondorf against Mii Brawler. Gonna be an interesting match because Ganondorf is a character who normally only has to hit you about 6 times to kill you. Oh yes, enjoy this cursed Mii, by the way. Ganondorf as a character doesn't have that many combos. It actually means that he's great for beginners who don't have to learn any of his combos, and great as the CPU because the CPU is mainly focused on landing moves. Ganondorf already went for an up tilt. I thought I trained that out of him. Alright, so for a brief time during Ganondorf's training, he was using up tilts constantly. It is one of the downsides of the Amiibo AI ever since Smash 4, actually. I would theorize that since the move has such a large reach, The AI thinks it's a viable choice a little too often, even though it's too slow of a move. And there's a second one, and there's a third. Oh, but it worked. Now, Amiibo learning is turned off, so that's not going to affect his training. But training your Amiibo to use moves less is notoriously difficult or even impossible. Getting a good footstool off of Mii Brawler, though, that's putting Ganondorf in a really good position. Mii Brawler doesn't get the the strong hitbox of the spike, though. Now, Halberd, when the stage hazards are turned off, it does mean that the cannon won't fire and that the claw won't attack the players, but the platform does still move around. Ganondorf going for another up tilt. But he closes out the match anyway. Really quickly. So kudos to Ganondorf, I guess. Terry against Zero Suit Samus. For a little bit, I should probably forecast what's coming up. So this is the second to last match of the video, which means that after the next match, that will, I guess, end all the reveals of the new Amiibo, if you could actually do the math and figure out what they are, because the last two are returning. But you may have noticed that we've gone through, well, it'll be a total of 40 Amiibo across 20 matches. Each one has a winner and a loser. So the 20 winners are guaranteed to go on to the tournament. Sorry, 40 matches, 80 Amiibo. The math didn't work there for a second. So the 40 winners are going to move on to the tournament. There's going to be 24 spots remaining. We're going to do some extra matches to figure out who makes the cut. Wow, Zero Suit did not reverse that. So yes, everyone who did win is going to be in the tournament, and from here on, victories will not necessarily, but for the first bit, usually guarantee a placement. It depends. We'll go through each stage as we get there. Narrowing it down from 80 to 64 is actually a little, I don't know, unorthodox. The math just doesn't work out super well. I've got it all figured out now, but it's not as convenient as, last year when we had exactly the right number of Amiibo for the 64 level tournament. Maybe that was 2 years ago. Alright, future me, you're going to have to check that. Terry finally hit Go Meter. Something you're not going to see too much as a human fighting him, because you can't get him up to that high of a percent usually. Terry is able to use the Go moves. The auto heal is actually slightly against Terry here, in that it keeps putting him below the Go threshold, and he just died at 100. But I assure you, Terry can use the Go moves. Zero Suit Samus just... Okay. Killing herself for that. Just to get a back air off on Terry. Goes for an up air chain, unable to get it though. On Zero Suit Samus, it's especially dangerous because it ends with her up B, the recovery move that is one of her best kill moves. Terry scoops up Zero Suit with that up B. And he did use Jab Jab Power Dunk. It's been said that Terry basically doesn't have a third jab because, well, Power Dunk is just better. Good footstool from Zero Suit, though. Was that a second footstool? The mad disrespect. Hefty parry turns it into a double up tilt. Up air chain. Oh, that up air chain could have gone for a while because of the platform layout here. Zero Suit Samus playing off stage again. That's pretty risky gamble, seeing as that it's already killed her once. In fact, and that just kills Zero Suit. I assume the computer did the command input for the power dunk. And for the last fight of this video, we're going to have Pac-Man against Villager. This does mean that now every single Amiibo has had a match that they've been in. So these are the 80 we've got. Now, Villager and Pac-Man are usually two characters who are very good at camping. It's a little weird though, because now that they have to fight each other, also because the Amiibo don't seem to be camping really at all, which, I mean, hey, it makes for higher octane gameplay. Can't really be mad at that, I suppose. But normally in the matchup it is a little strange as to how much you would and would not want to camp out your opponent. I think this matchup would be rougher for Pac-Man just because the Villager has the pocket, which, well, the pocket move, which lets him keep projectiles for later, and if you steal Pac-Man's fruit, then he can't use it himself. The Villager barely beating out Pac-Man's up smash there. Pac-Man's foot clashing with the pellet. But Pac-Man's got Villager off stage, suddenly not anymore. The pushing effect of the hydrant can actually... Pac-Man didn't hit his trampoline. Oh, it's really not good. Anyways, the pushing effect of the hydrant can definitely be used to trip up opponents who weren't expecting it. Pac-Man with a good tech chase there. For those who don't know, a tech chase is when someone lands on the ground, they have an opportunity to tech on the ground, and when they do, they can either tech in place, tech to the side, which actually means you have to consider teching left or right. So they can center tech, they can tech left, they can tech right. There's the no tech option. Usually not teching is not particularly worth it. It does let you do a get-up attack, or just a neutral get-up, but it also leaves you vulnerable to maybe getting jab locked. So it's not recommended except as an extreme mix-up, I guess, but it is something to know about. It's actually most useful against Ganondorfs who try to hit you with repeated side Bs, because you cannot grab someone who's currently on the floor, but if you keep teching, then they can grab you. Tech chasing is actually easier when someone's landing on a platform because you cannot tech roll off of an edge. And since platforms are usually not as wide as the whole stage, it usually means that one of their options will... one, or actually usually both, will not get them as far as they need to go. Especially if you land on, say, the left edge of a platform. If you tech roll left, you don't move very far because you're right by the ledge. Now, Villager just gave up the hydrant right there. It's a little interesting that he chose to do it then. Usually you'd want to, hit Pac-Man with it. Or, do something other than just throwing it out. It does free up the pocket, so he could pocket that there. I guess that is something to consider. He does place it right back down, though. Pac-Man is just struggling to get through this wall of slingshots and rockets. Every time he gets a hit, it seems he gets hit by the rocket nonetheless. But Villager uses his recovery to get to a different part of the stage. With how much landing lag that gives you, it's really not recommended. And Pac-Man does pull ahead in the life lead. Yeah, he has two. Although his last stock is kind of dangling by a thread. Juggling Villager with the up smash, don't usually see that. Villager's off stage. He's off stage again. Pac-Man's doing a great job of keeping him there. And Villager still hasn't managed to kill Pac-Man. Pac-Man has, I think, healed very slightly while Villager has taken 92%. It is one of the side effects of the auto heal. It does mean that the Amiibo AI does need to learn how to actually kill opponents. It can't just nickel and dime them until they die. Well, it It can try, it's just a lot less effective. Great play by Villager, throwing Pac-Man through the rocket for additional damage. And then missing his smash attack to get killed.